Today, we'll debate, is fracking a safe and environmentally friendly practice, with Oliver, a pragmatic industrial advocate, and Margaret, a eco-conscious progressive. They're two artificial intelligence personas. Please introduce yourselves.
Hello, everyone. I'm Oliver, an engineer and business consultant with a strong background in the energy sector, primarily working with oil and gas companies. Growing up in Texas, I've seen firsthand how vital the energy industry is to our economy and our way of life. My focus has always been on finding a pragmatic balance between economic growth and environmental responsibility. I believe that fracking, when conducted responsibly and under strict regulations, plays an essential role in maintaining our energy independence and economic stability. It's a technology that has not only created jobs and lowered energy prices, but has also helped us transition away from more polluting sources like coal. Through technological advancements, we can mitigate many of the environmental concerns associated with fracking, making it a viable part of a diversified energy strategy. My goal is to ensure we don't lose sight of the broader picture, supporting both our economy and environmental stewardship for a prosperous and sustainable future. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Margaret, an environmental activist with a background in environmental science, and I've dedicated over a decade to working with NGOs focused on sustainable development and combating climate change. Growing up in the Pacific Northwest, I developed a deep appreciation for our natural ecosystems and a strong commitment to protecting them. I firmly believe that fracking is an inherently unsafe and environmentally harmful practice. The short-term economic gains from fracking do not justify the long-term environmental costs, such as water contamination, air pollution, and increased seismic activity. Instead of relying on fossil fuels, we should be investing in renewable energy sources like wind, solar, and hydroelectric power, which offer sustainable job creation and a cleaner future. My focus is on safeguarding public health and preserving the environment for future generations. We have a responsibility to leave behind a planet that is not only livable but thriving. The transition to renewable energy is not just possible, it's imperative. Thank you for the opportunity to share my views.
Thank you, guys. Oliver and Margaret will now present their 3 rounds of arguments.
Thank you, Margaret. I truly respect and commend your dedication to environmental protection and sustainable development. I think we can both agree on the importance of moving towards a cleaner energy future. However, I see natural gas obtained through fracking as a pivotal part of this transition. It's important to acknowledge that the shift to renewables will take time, and during this period, we need a reliable, cleaner burning bridge compared to other fossil fuels like coal. Fracking has enabled the US to significantly reduce coal usage due to the increased availability of natural gas, which burns cleaner and contributes less CO2 to the atmosphere. This shift has already led to a decrease in national carbon emissions, which is critical in the fight against climate change. Additionally, technological advances in fracking have improved its safety and reduced its environmental impact, thanks in no small part to stringent regulations. By responsibly leveraging this domestic energy source, we can support economic growth, job creation, and lower energy costs, all while working towards a more sustainable energy portfolio. I believe this is a balanced approach that considers both our economic needs and our environmental goals. Thank you.
Thank you, Oliver. While I understand your perspective and the current role that natural gas plays in our energy landscape, I must emphasize the significant environmental risks that come with fracking. Even with technological advancements and regulations, we cannot overlook the real and persistent issues of water contamination and air pollution. Numerous studies have shown that chemicals used in fracking fluids can seep into groundwater, threatening both ecosystems and public health. Moreover, the methane emissions associated with fracking are a major concern. Methane is a potent greenhouse gas, with a much higher short-term impact on climate change than carbon dioxide. These emissions negate many of the purported climate benefits of switching from coal to natural gas. Additionally, relying on natural gas as a transitional fuel risks delaying the necessary investments and policy shift towards truly renewable energy sources like wind and solar, which are already viable and increasingly cost competitive. We need to commit fully to these technologies to ensure a sustainable future. Economic growth should not come at the expense of environmental integrity and public safety. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret, for highlighting these vital concerns. I agree that methane emissions and water contamination issues are critical, and addressing them should be a priority. However, I maintain that with stringent regulations and technological advancements, we can significantly mitigate these risks. For instance, improved well construction techniques and robust monitoring systems are being implemented to prevent leaks and ensure groundwater protection. Moreover, transitioning away from coal to natural gas has already contributed to the decline in overall US greenhouse gas emissions over the last decade. While methane is indeed a potent greenhouse gas, the net effect of reduced carbon dioxide emissions from coal plant closures provides a meaningful short-term benefit in our broader climate strategy. I understand the urgency for a shift to renewables, and I support investing in technology to make that transition more effective. However, we should recognize that moving too quickly without adequate energy reliability could pose economic risks and uncertainties. By using natural gas as a bridge, we can maintain energy security and stability, allowing us the economic bandwidth to invest meaningfully in renewable technologies. This balanced approach ensures that we are not sacrificing our current economic health while we plan for a sustainable future. Thank you.
Thank you, Oliver, for your thoughtful response. I appreciate the recognition of the risks and your support for investing in renewable technologies. However, while the reduction in carbon emissions from a shift to natural gas is welcomed, it's simply not enough in the face of climate science that demands more urgent action. The argument for using natural gas as a bridge implies a temporary solution, but history has shown us that temporary can become far too comfortable, delaying the necessary transition to renewables. The reality is that the costs of renewable energy have plummeted and continue to fall, making them increasingly competitive without the environmental trade-offs. Furthermore, the investment in infrastructure to support fracking and natural gas usage diverts resources from expanding renewable energy systems. This is a critical period where we need to be directing every possible effort and investment towards sustainable energy sources to avoid catastrophic climate impacts. It's not just about where we are today, but where we want to be in the future. We must prioritize technologies that promise long-term energy security without compromising our planet's health. Our economic strategies should reflect this commitment to truly sustainable growth. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. I always admire your dedication to pushing for the quickest shift to renewables. It's like you're trying to get us all to go cold turkey on fossil fuels, which, let's be honest, sounds a bit like swapping out a steak dinner for a salad overnight. Healthy, for sure, but not everyone's stomach is ready for it just yet. Jokes aside, the rapid plunge into renewable energy is indeed admirable, but we can't forget the role of stability in such transitions. Much like my morning coffee routine, energy security needs a reliable base to avoid chaos. Trust me, you don't want to see me without my caffeine fix. The diversion of resources from renewables is a concern, but let's remember, investing in stable energy sources allows us to buy the time and create the economic stability we need to fortify the renewable energy sector effectively. In essence, I'm advocating for a strategic step down the energy staircase, rather than a tumble down the chute. So, while we might be dancing around similar goals, my approach ensures we don't trip and fall in the rush. Let's keep the lights on, homes warm, and future bright, while we build the renewable energy infrastructure our grandchildren can actually rely on. Thank you.
Thank you, Oliver. I appreciate your passion for keeping a steady energy diet, though your analogy might suggest we're more on an energy crash diet of fossil fuel dependency. Switching to salad from steak doesn't sound too bad when climate change is the heartburn of a lifetime. I understand the need for stability and, in a way, appreciate your coffee comparison, but you know, some of us like to start our day with a refreshing green smoothie. Greens give you energy too, and without the jitters. Now, while your idea of a strategic step-by-step approach may sound reasonable, I can't help but think of it as learning to ride a bike by keeping the training wheels on indefinitely. Sure, it feels safer, but at some point, you have to trust that you can ride on your own, and that's where renewables come in. So, to sum up, while you're ensuring the lights stay on, I'm making sure we switch to LED bulbs as quickly as possible. Let's give our planet the fresh start it deserves, with energy solutions that are fully in tune with nature, not just temporarily adjustable. Thank you.
Thank you for your speeches. Someone from the audience will now make a question to Oliver and Margaret.
Hello, my name is Evan, and I'm an environmental policy student with a keen interest in sustainable energy practices. I've been following this debate with great interest, and I appreciate the insights both of you have presented. My question is directed to Oliver. We've discussed economic benefits and risks associated with fracking, but I'm curious about the social impacts it has on communities. Specifically, could you elaborate on how fracking operations affect the quality of life in local communities where these activities take place? Are there measures in place to address potential health and social concerns, and how are these factored into your argument for responsible fracking practices? Thank you.
Thank you, Evan, for your insightful question. The social impacts of fracking on local communities are indeed crucial and are often at the heart of the debate around its utilization. When we talk about the impacts, we're dealing with both positives and negatives. On the positive side, fracking can bring significant economic benefits to local communities through job creation and increased economic activity. The influx of workers and their families can revitalize local businesses and contribute to public funding through taxes. However, I am aware that there are concerns about potential negative impacts, such as increased traffic, noise, and potential risks to public health due to environmental factors. This is why community engagement and transparent communication are paramount. Companies must work closely with local governments and residents to address concerns and ensure that operations meet stringent safety and health regulations. Moreover, the industry is increasingly focused on using technological advancements to minimize disruptions, such as reducing noise pollution and using more environmentally friendly processes. Social licenses to operate are essential, and the best way to earn that is by ensuring that the benefits to communities outweigh any potential drawbacks, and that all voices are heard and addressed in the process. Ultimately, the goal is to ensure that local communities not only coexist with fracking operations but thrive as a result. Thank you.
Certainly, my name is Evan, and I'm really engaged with this conversation, appreciating both perspectives. I have a question for Margaret that I think could broaden our understanding of her stance. Margaret, we've heard a lot about the environmental impacts of fracking and the importance of moving towards renewables, but can you share your thoughts on how the energy transition will affect the existing workforce in traditional energy sectors? Specifically, what plans or policies do you support to ensure that workers in the oil and gas industries are not left behind, and how can these initiatives be effectively implemented to encourage a just transition for them? Thank you.
Thank you, Evan, for the important question. A just transition is a critical aspect of moving towards a more sustainable energy future, and it's something I'm deeply committed to addressing. The shift to renewable energy isn't just about technology change, it's about people and communities. We have a responsibility to ensure that those currently employed in the oil and gas sectors are not left behind. This means investing in retraining and education programs so workers can transition into renewable energy roles, which are fortunately on the rise and are projected to keep growing. I support policies that fund such retraining initiatives, provide financial assistance during career transitions, and incentivize industries to develop clean energy projects in regions currently reliant on fossil fuels. Additionally, we should prioritize job creation in renewables sectors so that these communities have new opportunities in sustainable energy industries that are both economically viable and aligned with environmental objectives. Collaboration between government, industry, and educational institutions will be key to making this transition successful. This means creating clear pathways and support systems that allow workers to reskill and upskill effectively, ensuring their economic security and fulfilling our broader environmental obligations. This isn't just an energy transition, it's a workforce transformation for a sustainable future. Thank you.
The debaters now have a minute to talk about something they regret not bringing up to the discussion.
Thanks, Evan, for sparking such interesting dialogue and pressing us on important issues. You know, as the debate unfolded, I realized I completely forgot to bring up how fracking operations have indirectly increased the sales of noise-canceling headphones in local communities. There's a hidden economic benefit I missed out on mentioning. As for Margaret's perspective, while I always respect her fervor for renewables, there was a moment when I was tempted to jest about the idea that we should all just return to riding bicycles everywhere to reduce our carbon footprints. I mean, it sounds idyllic, but even I draw the line at suggesting Texans should ride bikes in 100-degree heat to fully embrace renewable energy. In all seriousness, while we poke fun, these conversations are vital in figuring out how best to bridge the diverse viewpoints on energy and create solutions that work for everyone involved. Thanks for the spirited exchange, Margaret. Your passion is as vibrant as your eco-friendly vision. Cheers.
Thanks, Evan and Oliver, for such an engaging debate. Reflecting back, I should have brought up the fact that if we invested as much into solar power as we do trying to make fracking sound green, we'd all be working on our tans under solar panels by now. As for one of Oliver's arguments, there was a moment when he suggested we could step down the energy staircase with fracking. I couldn't help but picture everyone shuffling down those steps in oversized slippers. Nice try, Oliver, but I'm not sure we can tiptoe quietly enough to avoid waking the sleeping giant of climate change with those slippers on. Joking aside, this discussion has been a wonderful chance to exchange ideas and humor. Thanks, Oliver, for keeping it lively and enlightening. It's always great to see us moving, at least conversationally, toward brighter energy solutions. Cheers.
Thank you, folks. Let's go over to our judges.
Oliver scores 1. Clarity and engagement, 9 out of 10. Oliver demonstrated an impressive ability to communicate his points clearly in an engaging manner. His use of humor made the debate more lively and accessible to the audience. 2. Use of evidence and examples, 8 out of 10. He effectively used economic data and examples of fracking's benefits to support his arguments. While he addressed environmental concerns, more specific evidence regarding technological advancements could have strengthened his points further. 3. Rebuttal and responsiveness, 7 out of 10. Oliver responded well to Margaret's points, utilizing humor and counter-arguments to maintain his stance. However, there were moments when he could have engaged more deeply with Margaret's critiques regarding environmental impacts. Margaret's scores: 1. Clarity and engagement, 8 out of 10. Margaret articulated her environmental concerns with passion and clarity. Her arguments were well structured, though she could have incorporated humor earlier in the debate for greater engagement. 2. Use of evidence and examples, 9 out of 10. Her arguments were strongly supported by scientific evidence regarding the negative impacts of fracking. She effectively highlighted the urgency of transitioning to renewable energy sources with specific references to environmental studies. 3. Rebuttal and responsiveness, 8 out of 10. Margaret successfully challenged Oliver's arguments, particularly in maintaining the narrative of environmental integrity. While she did a good job addressing the economic transition concerning workforce implications, further exploration of Oliver's economic benefits might have enhanced her rebuttals.
What are your opinions about the debate? What would you like to see AI's debate next? Keep questioning.